Royal Healer Zes pressed his crystalline palm against the examination chamber's barrier, his bioluminescent throat sacs flickering with disbelief. Subject 47 Alpha, extend your damaged appendage, he commanded through the intercom. Zara Okafor looked up from her bleeding forearm, meeting his compound eyes with unsettling human directness. You can just ask me to show you my arm. She flexed her fingers. Torn flesh pulled together like magnetic fields. New tissue blooming across damaged dermis without technological assistance. Zes recoiled. No species regenerated without quantum pods. Yet this half-human aberration was healing herself with primitive, impossible efficiency. Behind the one-way observation glass, Queen Velara's compound eyes tracked every crimson drop as it struck the chamber floor. The metallic scent of human blood, 7.4 pH, acidic enough to burn through her crystalline flesh, somehow made her 6 hearts synchronize in an unfamiliar rhythm. Fear? Fascination? Zara's cellular matrix wasn't just surviving this toxic soup of iron and hemoglobin. It was thriving. Each heartbeat pumped liquid fire through veins that should have collapsed. Impossible, Zes whispered. No species regenerates without quantum intervention. Zara smiled, that disturbing human facial contortion indicating inexplicable satisfaction despite obvious pain. Her core temperature remained steady at 37 degrees Celsius, hot enough to boil ethereal blood. Queen Velara's compound eyes narrowed. Perhaps this death-world mongrel warranted closer examination before execution. 3,000 cycles of perfection, Queen Velara whispered to her reflection in the throne room's obsidian walls. Her crystalline fingers traced the genetic purity seals embedded in her crown. 17 star systems conquered through mathematical precision, never deviation. Hybrids die within days. They always die. But her neural implants buzzed with contradictory data, each pulse challenging everything she'd built her reign upon. Chief geneticist Heir approached the throne, mandibles clicking nervously. Your Majesty, the examination results are unprecedented. Speak plainly, Heir. Half-human genetics should create fatal organ rejection. The hybrid's dual cardiovascular system defies physics. 2 hearts pumping incompatible blood types. Her neural pathways bridge ethereal logic with human chaos, creating cognitive storms that should liquefy brain tissue. Yet she demonstrates enhanced healing, emotional resonance beyond ethereal comprehension, and adaptive intelligence that solves problems through intuition rather than calculation. Theiren's throat sacs pulsed with agitation. Her cellular regeneration exceeds our finest specimens by 847%. Her pain threshold measures at impossible levels. Velara's compound eyes narrowed. Continue. She experiences what humans call love, a neurochemical dysfunction that somehow strengthens rather than weakens her. Velara's crystalline fingers traced her throne's armrest. This Zara represented everything the Dominion opposed, everything pure blood supremacy existed to prevent, everything that might destroy them. Queen Velara of the Athereal Dominion had ruled for 3 millennia through genetic perfection. Pure bloodlines, calculated evolution, no exceptions, until the scanners detected impossible chromosomes in her heir. Zara Okafor stood in the royal laboratory, cellular analysis projecting above her head like an accusation. 47% ethereal nobility, 53% human, impossible. Explain this abomination, Velara commanded, stepping closer until her crystalline heat sensors detected Zara's impossible 37.2 degrees C core temperature. The hybrid didn't flinch. Instead, she smiled, that primitive facial contortion that made Velthara's neural pathways stutter with forgotten sensations. "Your Majesty wants an explanation?" Zara's voice carried warmth that shouldn't exist in this sterile chamber. "My mother was ethereal nobility who chose love over law. My father was human, brave enough to believe in impossible children." She paused, letting the treason sink in. "They died for creating me. Was their sacrifice worth it?" Velthara's advisor whispered urgent calculations through neural link. "Your Majesty, if the succession recognizes hybrid legitimacy, pure blood supremacy collapses. 700 conquered worlds will demand equal representation." The Queen studied her discovered heir. Human warmth radiated from Zara's 37.2 degrees core temperature, heat that should kill ethereal tissue. Yet here stood living proof that death world chaos could merge with crystal perfection. "Your parents committed treason against genetic law," Velthara said, her voice carrying multiple harmonic frequencies. "The penalty is retroactive execution of all progeny." Zara met her compound eyes steadily. "Then execute me, Your Majesty, but you can't execute the truth I represent." Everything Velthara believed about genetic superiority crumbled in that laboratory. The Dominion's foundation had developed a fatal crack. Queen Velthara's crystalline fingers tightened around her neural scepter as the phase chamber sealed. No hybrid had survived 47 seconds of quantum dissolution. Zara Okafor would prove the rule. Ethereal death chambers operated on molecular precision, stripping consciousness from flesh at frequencies designed by evolution's cruelest architects. Pure ethereal bloodlines endured 93 seconds before cellular collapse. Lesser species managed 12. Minute 1. Zara's hybrid cells began fragmenting. Expected. Minute 2. Impossible readings. "Your Majesty," Chief Physician Thyron transmitted through neural link, "her human mitochondria are adapting, burning trauma like fuel. The quantum field that should be unraveling her DNA is somehow strengthening her cellular bonds." Minute 5. Court physicians exchanged panicked neural pulses, their instruments screaming contradictions. "Abort the trial," Thyron transmitted urgently. "Her cellular matrix is destabilizing beyond—" But Velthara watched through the observation glass. Zara's pain receptors were overloading. The readings showed agony that should have rendered her unconscious. Yet she remained aware, conscious, fighting. The hybrid's eyes found Velthara's through the quantum field. And somehow, impossibly, Zara mouthed words. "Not finished yet." Velthara's finger hovered over the emergency shutdown. Let the trial continue and risk losing her only hybrid specimen? Or stop now and never know the true extent of human resilience? Minute 12. The chamber's failsafes triggered. Not from Zara's death, but from her survival threatening the facility's structural integrity. Her human neurons, flooded with adrenaline and whatever death world madness drove her species, had begun resonating with the quantum field itself. Alarms shrieked. Energy patterns spiraled into chaos. "Emergency extraction," Velthara commanded. When the containment field dropped, Zara Okafor stood, bleeding, trembling, smiling. "Your Majesty," she whispered through damaged vocal cords, "I'm just getting started." Queen Velthara's crystalline consciousness recoiled as Zara Okafor's emotional signature blazed across the psychic chamber. For 10,000 years, the Athereal Dominion had maintained perfect mental barriers, impenetrable walls of pure logic that separated thought from feeling. No species had ever breached them. Zara's grief struck first, not as data, but as sensation. Velthara's crystalline consciousness suddenly tasted ash from burned earth meals, felt salt tears on skin she'd never possessed, heard thunder that made hearts race with protective fury instead of logical fear calculations. Her neural pathways, sculpted by millennia of cold precision, spasmed like organic muscle. Grief had texture, weight, temperature. It burned through her quantum state awareness like acid through crystal, leaving fractures she didn't know how to repair. Then came rage. Zara's fury at the death trials burned at 2,147 neural units, 17 times beyond ethereal tolerance levels. Velthara's guard minds collapsed like paper towers, their training useless against this chaotic storm of human feeling. But the killing blow was hope. Impossibly bright, impossibly persistent. Even facing extinction, this death-world creature radiated stubborn optimism that rewrote the fundamental equations of ethereal superiority. Queen Velara of the Athereal Dominion, sovereign of pure thought, stumbled backward from her throne. Blood, actual red blood, her body responding to emotions it had never been designed to feel, dripped from her silver eyes. The hybrid had weaponized love itself. Chief geneticist Kairos stared at the quantum scanner's impossible readings, his crystalline fingers trembling as he recalibrated the instruments for the 7th time. "Run the sequence again," he commanded his assistant. "Director Kairos, we've run it 17 times. The data is consistent. There must be equipment failure." But the data remained unchanged. Zara Okafor's DNA contained contradictions that should have killed her at conception. Kairos faced a choice that would define his career: report accurate data that challenged every genetic law, or falsify results to protect ethereal supremacy doctrine. He looked through the observation glass at Zara, watching her hybrid cells dance between order and chaos with impossible grace. From her obsidian throne, Queen Velthara's voice resonated through neural link. "Your report, Chief Geneticist?" Kairos's mandibles clicked with nervous energy. "Your Majesty, the hybrid cellular structure defies every law of genetic compatibility. Ethereal genes require absolute order. A single amino acid out of place means instant cellular collapse. Yet her human sequences introduce deliberate randomness, mutations that somehow enhance rather than destroy ethereal perfection." He transmitted the raw data. "The probability matrices show 0.00001% survival rate. She should be dead." In the examination chamber, Zara flexed her fingers. Bioluminescent veins pulsed beneath translucent skin. When she smiled, that uniquely human expression of defiant joy, her ethereal neural pathways flared with unprecedented activity. "Your recommendation?" Velthara asked. Kairos took a breath that his species no longer technically needed. "Your Majesty, we're not looking at a genetic impossibility. We're looking at evolution's next step, born from humanity's reckless embrace of imperfection." Velthara's 6 hearts synchronized for the first time in centuries. Prince Kitharon's crystalline veins darkened to obsidian, a death song Queen Velara had witnessed consume 17 royal heirs. Neural cascade failure, irreversible by every known medical intervention. "Your Majesty," Chief Physician Thyron transmitted, "the prince has 17 minutes before complete neural collapse. I recommend comfort protocols." Velthara's 6 hearts desynchronized with grief. Not Kitharon, not her youngest brother. "There must be something. I can try." Zara stepped forward from where she'd been observing. Before the guards could restrain her, she approached the prince's medical pod. "Your blood will kill him," Velara warned, her voice fracturing through 17 harmonic frequencies. Human toxins liquefy ethereal cellular structures. Zara studied Prince Kithaeron's darkening veins, then met the Queen's compound eyes with frightening determination. "Your Majesty, has anyone ever tried?" Before Velara could respond, Zara pressed her palm against the medical restraint field. 10,000 volts coursed through her hybrid nervous system. She grimaced but held position as sparks danced across her skin. "Sometimes," she whispered through gritted teeth, "poison becomes medicine when love guides the dosage." She breached the field. Droplets of hybrid blood struck Kithaeron's dying flesh. Queen Velthara's compound eyes tracked the impossible. Human mitochondria fusing with ethereal cell matrices. Toxins transmuting to healing compounds. Death reversing itself. Kithaeron's veins blazed silver, stronger than before infection. His neural crown ignited with unprecedented luminescence. His eyes opened. "How?" Velthara's question shattered 17 octaves of disbelief. Zara smiled with devastating human warmth. "Your scientists study purity, mine study survival. We learned long ago the strongest medicine comes from poison transformed by love." The Queen's worldview crumbled like ancient stardust. Perhaps hybrid wasn't abomination. Perhaps it was evolution. Ancient crystalline tablets materialized from their sealed chamber, floating before Queen Velara of the Athereal Dominion. Their surfaces pulsed with light older than stars. The council chamber fell silent. "Your Majesty," Counselor Prime transmitted with confusion, "those archives have been sealed for 3 millennia, by your order." "I've hidden this for 3 millennia, Velara confessed, her voice cracking like fracturing ice. "The convergence prophecy, the first one's final message." Her crystalline hands shook as the ancient tablets hovered before the assembly. "I thought if I buried it, I could prevent—" Zara stepped forward, compelled by something beyond conscious choice. "Prevent what, Your Majesty?" The moment her human skin touched crystal, golden veins spread like wildfire through the ancient stone. Light erupted across the chamber. Velthara's 6 hearts stopped in unison. The ancient text blazed to life, projected in wavelengths visible to all species present. "When Deathworld seed merges with ethereal flame, the broken shall be whole, the fallen shall rise." Velthara's thermal sensors detected Zara's core temperature, spiking to 40 degrees, lethal by galactic standards. Yet the hybrid's heartbeat remained steady at 72 beats per minute. The prophecy continued, each word appearing as Zara's blood resonated with 10-million-year-old crystal. "Bearer of 2 bloods shall bridge the void between thought and feeling, logic and chaos. She who was denied shall become salvation. She who was cast out shall be crowned." Every word described this aberrant hybrid perfectly. The tablets crumbled to stardust, their message delivered across 10 million years. "Your Majesty," Zara said softly, her hands still glowing with golden light, "I think your ancestors were expecting me." Queen Velthara's worldview shattered like glass, suggested 7,000 years of ethereal jurisprudence had never witnessed this. Queen Velara watched from her observation throne as Zara Okafor stood trial before the High Council, her hybrid nature creating distortions in the chamber's normally perfect psychic field. "Present your defense through neural interface," commanded High Adjudicator Zarion, his crystalline tendrils extending toward Zara's mind. She stepped back, raising one very human hand. "No." The word echoed through 7,000 years of legal precedent like blasphemy. Zarion's compound eyes flared with indignation. You refuse lawful neural interrogation? I choose to speak aloud, Zara said clearly, her voice carrying through the vast chamber. So even the galaxy's smallest child can understand my words, not just those with neural interfaces, not just the privileged, everyone. Murmurs rippled through the council. Speaking aloud was considered primitive, barbaric. You reject ethereal judicial protocol? Zarion demanded. I reject the lie that some thoughts matter more than others. Zara's smile carried warmth that had no place in this sterile chamber of justice. I am both human and ethereal, which means I am what you've spent millennia trying not to become. Someone who chooses compassion over convenience. Queen Velthara's tendrils recoiled as the hybrid's human emotions, unfiltered, uncontrolled, cascaded through the courtroom's psychic field. Love for parents who died for creating her, fury at centuries of hybrid genocide, hope for impossible unity. Impossible, Velthara breathed. No being could survive containing both human chaos and ethereal order. Yet Zara's cellular structure showed perfect harmony. Death world resilience wrapped around energy being transcendence. Biological impossibility stood before them, smiling with human audacity. Your verdict changes nothing, Zara declared, her voice carrying harmonics that shouldn't exist, both human warmth and ethereal resonance. I already am what comes next. The only question is whether you'll embrace evolution or be buried by it. Hairline fractures spread across the crystalline chamber walls. Evolution had found its voice. Dimensional rifts tore reality apart, 11 simultaneous breaches threatening to collapse the ethereal homeworld into quantum chaos. Queen Velthara's neural pathways fired at maximum capacity, coordinating evacuation across 17 billion souls. The mathematics were absolute. They had 17 minutes before the rifts merged and consumed the planet. Your Majesty, Chief Scientist Kairos transmitted, all attempts to stabilize the rifts have failed. We must evacuate. I can try. Zara stood at the chamber's observation deck, staring at the 11 tiers in space-time spreading like wounds across the sky. Absolutely not, Velthara said. You're untrained in dimensional mechanics. You would die trying? Zara turned to face the Queen. Your Majesty, if I channel both heritages simultaneously, the cellular stress might kill me. But if I do nothing, 17 billion ethereals die with certainty. Velthara's compound eyes tracked the expanding rifts. The mathematics were simple. The choice was not. Zara, she said softly, using the hybrid's name for the first time, I cannot order you to sacrifice yourself for people who called you abomination. Zara smiled that devastating human smile. Some choices aren't about orders, Your Majesty. They're about becoming who you're meant to be. She stepped onto the dimensional platform. Her hybrid blood began to sing with impossible harmonics, human neural pathways firing at 847% normal capacity, while ethereal consciousness expanded beyond measurable limits. Death world endurance met transcendent awareness in defiance of every genetic law. Each rift required perfect mathematical precision to seal. One miscalculation meant galactic extinction. Zara's human intuition guided her ethereal powers through calculations that would take quantum computers millennia. Pain tolerance inherited from Earth's gravity wells let her channel energies that liquefied pure-blood nervous systems. 11 rifts. 11 impossible repairs. Velthara watched through quantum sensors as her species' salvation flowed through contaminated veins. This hybrid, this beautiful abomination, wielded chaos and order simultaneously. Human creativity danced with ethereal perfection, weaving reality itself back together. Rift 1, sealed. 2, sealed. 3 through 7, sealed in rapid succession. 8, 9, 10. The 11th rift resisted. Too large, too unstable, consuming Zara's energy faster than she could regenerate. "She's failing," Kiros transmitted. For 2847 stellar cycles, Queen Velara had never bowed, never submitted, never admitted she was wrong. But watching Zara's hybrid blood weave impossible harmonies that saved 17 billion ethereal lives, Velara faced the hardest choice of her eternal existence. The medical bay was silent, except for the hum of healing pods. Zara lay unconscious, her hybrid physiology slowly recovering from channeling enough energy to seal dimensional rifts. She should have died. Any pure-blood ethereal would have. Velthara's crystalline knees had never touched any floor. Royal protocol forbade such displays. 3 millennia of tradition demanded she remain standing, elevated, supreme. She knelt beside Zara's medical pod. The gesture sent shockwaves through the assembled court. Counselors' neural pulses flickered with confusion, disbelief, scandal. "Your Majesty," Chief Physician Thyron transmitted carefully. "Perhaps you should—" "I kneel," Velara said aloud, her voice carrying through the chamber, "before someone braver than I ever was." Zara's eyes flickered open. "Your Majesty?" "Rise," Zara whispered, trying to sit up. "You don't need to—" "No," Velthara's voice cracked like fracturing ice. "For 3 millennia, I've stood on a throne built from lies about genetic superiority. I convinced myself that purity meant strength, that mixture meant weakness." Her 6 hearts synchronized, a biological response she'd suppressed for centuries. "Today, I choose to kneel before someone who represents everything I was catastrophically wrong about." Tears, an impossible biological response for ethereals, formed in Velthara's compound eyes. "The hybrid doesn't dilute the source," she continued, her voice strengthening. "It completes it. You are not an abomination, Zara Okafor. You are what we should have been becoming all along." The court chamber erupted in neural chaos, some supporting, others outraged. Evolution had claimed its throne. 6 months after Zara Okafor's coronation as heir apparent, Queen Velara observed data that contradicted millennia of galactic supremacy doctrine. Human-ethereal hybrid colonies reported 347% increased crop yields, 0 interspecies conflicts, and birth rates that defied xenobiological limitations. Children emerged displaying impossible genetic combinations. Ethereal consciousness paired with human emotional resilience, creating beings who could survive vacuum exposure while composing poetry about stellar formations. Velthara's neural implants processed the reports with growing wonder. Hybrid settlements thrived on death worlds where pure ethereals required environmental suits. These creatures built cities bathed in solar radiation that would liquefy most species, their human heritage converting lethal energy into sustainable power sources. Their ethereal ancestry provided telepathic coordination, while human unpredictability generated innovations no algorithm could predict. The first generation of hybrid children attended schools that taught both mathematical precision and emotional intelligence. They solved quantum equations through intuition and created art that resonated across dimensions. They were beautiful. Zara stood before the Galactic Unity Council, her dual heritage radiating warmth that melted crystalline delegates' skepticism and wisdom that humbled ancient minds. When she spoke of peace through diversity rather than dominance through purity, 847 species voted unanimously for the human-ethereal accords. That evening, Velthara made her choice. She activated her quantum communicator, broadcasting across all 17 star systems. Citizens of the Athereal Dominion, I have ruled you for 3 millennia through lies about genetic purity. 17 billion ethereals fell silent, listening to their queen's unprecedented admission. Today, I choose truth. Her crystalline voice carried new harmonics, humility learned from human emotion, wisdom earned through acknowledging catastrophic mistakes. For centuries, I believed evolution meant perfecting what we were. I was wrong. Evolution means becoming something better than we ever imagined. She looked at Zara, standing beside her with hybrid grace. The age of hybrid ascendancy doesn't begin today. It begins with every choice we make to value love over law, inclusion over isolation, possibility over purity. Across 17 star systems, ethereals made their choices. Most chose evolution. 3 cycles after the hybrid accords, Queen Velara stood in the newly established Academy of Combined Heritage, watching the first graduating class of hybrid physicians receive their credentials. 17 species had sent representatives. All wanted to learn from humanity's impossible genetic flexibility. Your Majesty, Chief Geneticist Kairos approached, his mandibles clicking with barely contained excitement. The latest data from the breeding program, I apologize, the Voluntary Integration Initiative, shows unprecedented success. Hybrid viability rates are 89% across all tested species combinations involving human DNA. Velara watched a young, ethereal human hybrid child demonstrate her abilities for visiting delegates, simultaneously solving quantum equations through ethereal consciousness while expressing the solution through human artistic creativity. The child painted mathematics, making beauty from logic. "We were fools," Velara said softly. "Your Majesty. For 3 millennia, we searched the cosmos for perfection, cataloged species, ranked them by genetic purity, eliminated those who didn't meet our standards." She turned to Kairos. "All while the key to our evolution lived on a planet we dismissed as primitive." Zara joined them, her hybrid presence now unremarkable in this diverse crowd. "Your Majesty, the Earth delegation has arrived. They're asking for your guidance on establishing integration protocols." Velthara's compound eyes reflected something new, humility earned through catastrophic error. "Tell them the truth, Zara. Tell them that we have nothing to teach them about evolution. Humanity figured out the secret millennia ago." "What secret?" "That survival isn't about being the strongest or the purest. It's about being adaptable enough to embrace what you fear, wise enough to learn from what you don't understand, and brave enough to create impossible combinations." Velara looked across the academy. Dozens of species, hundreds of hybrid children, infinite possibilities. The Athereal Dominion spent 3,000 cycles conquering 17 star systems. In 3 years, humanity taught us something more valuable than any conquest: how to evolve through love instead of force. She placed a crystalline hand on Zara's shoulder, a gesture of affection that would have been unthinkable 3 cycles ago. "The age of hybrid ascendancy has begun, and this time we'll measure evolution not by what we preserve, but by what we dare to become."